You've almost certainly heard the chant echoing around the world: woman, life, freedom. It's incredibly powerful. But behind that slogan is a really complex and intense struggle playing out inside Iran right now. So, in this explainer, we're going to go beyond the headlines to really understand the deep roots of this movement and the high stakes battle for the future of an entire nation. So, this slogan, Jiyan Azadi, it's actually a Kurdish feminist slogan that went absolutely global after the tragic death of 22-year-old Gina Masa Amini while she was in the custody of Iran's morality police. Her death didn't just spark a few protests. It was like a match to gasoline. It ignited a firestorm, leading to some of the biggest demonstrations the country had seen in decades. So that's the real question, right? What is it about this specific chant that's so powerful? And why is the Iranian regime so incredibly worried about it? We're going to explore where it came from, how the government is now trying to fight back with a new kind of economic weapon, and what this whole clash tells us about where Iran is headed. Okay, so to really get what's going on with woman, life, freedom, we have to look way beyond the recent protests. See, this isn't just some viral hashtag that popped up overnight. It's a whole philosophy with roots that run incredibly deep, stretching back for decades. The slogan actually comes from the Kurdish political movement. Abdullah Öcalan, who founded the Kurdistan Workers' Party, he developed this idea over many years. He argued that you can't really liberate a society without first liberating women. It's that fundamental. And you can see how it evolved, right? It started with this connection between women and life and eventually became what he called the magic formula that has now, captured the entire world's attention. All right, so as you can imagine, the Iranian state didn't just sit back and watch these protests grow. They've shifted their tactics. They're moving beyond just physical force on the streets and are now rolling out a brand new strategy, a controversial bill that basically weaponizes the economy against its own people. And this is it. The Chastity and Hijab Bill. This is a huge shift in the government's whole approach. Instead of just relying on the morality police to enforce the rules, the state is now aiming straight for people's wallets. They're using the economic well-being of entire families as a tool to force compliance. Just to give you a sense of how serious this is, let's talk about one number: $5,400. That could be the fine for repeated dress code violations. That is a staggering amount of money for most people, especially given Iran's current economy. So how do you even get to a number that high? Well, the penalties are designed to escalate, and fast. A second violation for not having a head covering might cost you a few $100s, but by the time you get to a fourth offense, you're looking at thousands. And if they combine violations, the fines can become absolutely crippling. And you might be wondering, okay, why are these fines so devastating? It's because they're being piled on top of a population that's already under massive economic pressure. Look at this. The average family's real spending power has shrunk big time over the last decade because of sanctions, inflation, you name it. So these fines aren't just penalties. They could be a catastrophic blow to families who are already struggling. But this economic pain, it's not just bad luck or geopolitics. It's deeply tied to another huge issue that's been plaguing Iran for years: systemic corruption. It's been siphoning wealth away from regular people and putting it straight into the hands of the elite. Take a look at this. In 2024, Transparency International ranked Iran 151st out of 180 countries on its Corruption Perception Index. That is way, way down the list. It paints a picture of a system where abusing power for personal gain isn't the exception, it's pretty much the rule. So where is this corruption concentrated? Well, this quote points a finger right at the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. See, they're not just a military force, they're a massive economic powerhouse. They control huge parts of the economy and allegedly use that money and power to keep people loyal. And that kind of control makes a tool like the Hijab Bill, with its system of fines, a really potent way to control society. And this is where things get really wild. You have the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, on one hand, publicly saying that corruption is just occasional, not systemic. But then, a Reuters investigation tells a very different story. They estimated that he controls a financial empire worth around $95 billion. $95 billion! And it was largely built on seized property. That huge contrast is exactly what fuels so much of the public's anger and mistrust. Okay, so this brings us to what I think is the central paradox of Iran today. At the exact same moment the state is trying to tighten its grip with these economic threats, an entire generation of Iranian women has become more educated, more empowered, and more integrated into the economy than ever before. Just look at these numbers. It's incredible. In just over a decade, the share of Iranian women in high-skilled jobs, we're talking managers, professionals, technicians, it shot up by 10 percentage points. That is not a small shift. That is a huge structural change in the labor market, and it's being driven by this new generation of ambitious, educated women. But then, you look at the new hijab bill, and it feels like it's designed to stop this exact progress in its tracks. The penalties for public figures, for employees, for artists, they are designed to end careers. We're talking job suspensions, travel bans, being kicked off social media. It is a direct assault on their professional and public lives. So what you have here is the classic unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. On one side, you've got decades of incredible progress. Female literacy has skyrocketed. Women are now half of all university students. But on the other side, you have a state that's seeing public support for its policies just plummet, and it's responding with more and more repression. It's a collision course. And that brings us right back to today, where this whole conflict is at a boiling point. The outcome is so deeply uncertain, and honestly, the stakes for the future of Iran could not be any higher. And we can't forget the very real, immediate human cost of all this. The numbers from earlier this year are just staggering. Clashes leaving dozens dead, thousands detained, and the entire country cut off from the internet. This isn't some theoretical debate. It is a violent, ongoing reality for millions of people. But then, something totally unexpected happened. In a really unusual move, Iran's Supreme National Security Council actually hit the brakes on the bill, putting it into a kind of legal limbo. Now, that's a big deal. It suggests that even at the very top, there are deep divisions about what to do next, and it's exposing these rare cracks in the ruling establishment. So that's where we are. And it leaves us with one massive, critical question. You have this unstoppable force of social change crashing against an immovable object of state control. As this educated, empowered generation confronts a system that's literally weaponizing their own economic survival against them, something has to give. The only question is, what breaks first, the resistance or the rules?